High Plains Technology Center, turning education and training into workplace success.
Oh, back to school, to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool.
High Plains Technology Center, education at the speed of business. School is now in session.
Good Wednesday morning, sitting in Taylor Burnett, High Plains Technology Center, coming at you live. So we've got one guest that I'm kind of not excited about because we were supposed to have two separate guests, but I've said all along.
Don't say that about Caitlin. That's not very nice, Caitlin. I'm happy to have you.
You're breaking the ice right now.
Okay.
That's not supposed to happen.
I'm happy to have you.
So we were supposed to have Mickey in, and instead of Mickey coming in, Dawn did.
That's right.
Okay. So, which is better buckle up because there's no telling. It might be just as bad as when Barkley and I are sitting next to each other. We don't know. But I'm going to introduce our guest as we have. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
My name's Katelyn Vanderwork.
Okay. So one of my goals this semester has been to have every new instructor that isn't working for full time come in and ding, 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 ding. I think I got it accomplished. I'm pretty sure I did anyway.
Your last, save the best for last.
Yes, save the best for last, right before Christmas break. And for those that are tuning in as well, you will not hear us again until January 3rd, I believe. January 3rd of 2024. And then we're going to probably have Barkley on there talking about that show as well. But so, Caitlin, first year.
Yes.
Exciting times, right?
Yeah.
So what's the one thing, as I always talk about, Caitlin, what do you do, by the way, for those that are listening?
I am the practical nursing instructor,
all right.
one of them.
All right. So we have three, well, two, and then...
2.5.
2.5. Mickey's just misses out.
She likes to teach. Yeah, we can talk about it now.
We can talk about it, but she's
up.
probably a homesick listening to this right now and anything, but no. So we're talking about things. So PN instructor. So what's the one thing, because you were very fresh, new into this, right?
Yes.
You weren't even a former student. I found that out. I was not aware of that.
Right.
But what was the one true eye-opening experience that you've had so far in really 6 months, I guess, kind of 4 months. Yeah, 4 months.
Really just the amount of time it takes to plan. The curriculum. I couldn't believe how time-consuming it was.
You mean as a teacher, you don't just show up and do it?
You don't just show up and know everything.
Yeah.
But it has been really good for me to have to go back and relearn a lot of the specific things.
So you were relearning yourself, right?
Yeah.
So what did you do? Tell us a little bit about what you did before you came here.
Okay, so I got my bachelor's in nursing in 2013. So I was at the hospital for 10 years working night shift in labor and delivery.
Wow.
In labor and delivery. That's cool. That's how I met Mickey. Way back when was labor and delivery.
You guys were delivering babies together, or what?
Yep,
I
was scrubbing
time?
in.
Okay.
I had watched the St. John or St. Elsewhere or whatever it is, and scrubbed in. And I was an expert. Stayed at a Holiday Inn, but no, she helped deliver my first and my second. So yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, so that's it. So is that kind of weird for you when you work that for a while, knowing a lot of these kids kind of as babies?
Well, they don't look the same, and I haven't seen their parents. So
Barkley kind of looks the same. That same bald head, so it's kind of similar with that, I'd assume.
These kids are not that young.
Okay. Well, cool. So 4 months into it. So what do you think is the number one skill in the PM program that we're kind of bringing to these students as well?
The number one skill,
Yeah.
I would say probably time management.
Time management, yeah.
That's a big one.
No question. Mm-hmm. That's one of the hardest, even as a 50-year-old guy, pointing at himself right here, struggles with at times as well. Can you help with that?
It's an extremely fast-paced program. Yeah, we try to help. We provide study guides for them, calendars, obviously, so that they know ahead of time when to prepare for what.
Okay.
So a lot of it is upon them. It's a fast-paced course, so...
And you don't even really know the reference points to what we had there kind of previous, but what do you think the number one cool thing about being upstairs, technology-wise, that you guys have up there? I know what my answer would be, but I didn't. What do you think the coolest thing that you had to teach?
Probably the Animage
There you
table.
go.
Yeah.
So it is
Animage. Yep,
Animage.
that's right.
Animage.
That's right.
Okay, because I always want to say anatomage.
Anatomage. Yep, some people I think say that.
Okay.
But it really cool technology. It's basically like 2 TV screens flat that you can stand up or lay down. You can, use it as a human cadaver. You can, do all kinds of different things with it. What are some of the things you guys have done?
There's some case studies on there. We do the skeletal system during anatomy. So we have a practical at the end. So we'll have that set up that they have to locate certain bones that are pinned. There is even a pregnant woman on there. So it can actually simulate how it is inside.
So explain a little bit about, Dawn said a little bit the cadavers. So the different levels that you can actually take, because it's bodies, correct? So go through that, exactly what it kind of is.
So basically you can go through every single body system from the skin all the way to the veins and arteries. So you can just take it all the way through and go through each section.
Neural, you can pull it all the way back to where you just see the neurons, firing. You can pull it back with the veins and arteries. Like she said, you can see the heart beating, the kind of the blood pumping and which way it would go, kind of things like that. It's incredible teaching tool that we have at our disposal.
If anybody's watched Hollow Man, it's kind of like when Kevin Bacon's coming back, slowly or going in the reverse. You know that movie? Okay.
I think it's been a while.
But it is way cool. And these are actual real bodies, by the way, folks, correct?
These are people that gave their body to science, yep.
I mean, and so how many different people are on there, do you know?
It's 3, isn't it?
I think it's 3, yes.
Okay.
And, on the health career side, they even have some animals in there. So for our vet assisting, they can do kind of all the same things with I believe it's a dog that's on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to kind of get that so I can figure out what shoes to coordinate with, what clothes, that'd be the cool thing. Which Jordan's going to be rocking that day.
That's right, yeah.
Can that be a add-in on that? Would that be weird? That'd be a little weird,
A little weird, yeah.
So practicals, have you started any of that stuff yet? Or
So yes, they have done all of their clinical skills. We've done our Foley skills, our Foley checkoff, our sterile gloves, IV checkoffs, and our IM checkoffs. So they are ready for clinicals after the first of the year.
So your expertise kind of, are you diving deep into that yet on the labor and delivery piece? Or?
We will start that after the first of the year.
So are you going to be studying over break then, is what you're saying?
Probably not for that so much.
She's
I'm
expert.
looking forward to that. Yes.
Because they should probably follow you around, and you've written a book, right?
I feel like I could. Yes.
Okay. So what's the one thing that you miss from your time on the floor versus your time as an instructor?
Right. So it's just a lot different. Clinical setting, obviously, you're taking care of patients. You're in the thick of it. You just have an interaction with your patient and your coworkers. So I miss that. But
versus your coworkers now. I mean,
my coworkers now are great as well. I spend a lot of times with the students, obviously, which they are also great. But it's just trying to get in that mindset that they are starting with no knowledge, most of them. So trying to get it on their level and not assume that they know something that they don't. Or shouldn't know.
Yeah, they should know. There you go.
Shouldn't know.
Or shouldn't learn from the wrong people when they're on the floor with things. There's not any shortcuts you can take or anything, right? Yeah. The cool thing about it is you're bringing that real world experience. That's what all 3 of you do up there. And I think that's what separates Career Tech a little bit with that as well. So what's the number one thing that you kind of want to, other than the time management, you yourself, what piece of advice would you give the students now?
To really just take initiative. We see that a lot with these new nurses coming out. They don't want to take the initiative. So I just want you to be go-getters and act like you want to be there.
You mean a phone doesn't tell them what to do, right?
Right.
We talk about that all the time, just, transferring that to our students and kind of where we've come over the last few years and how, kids have kind of gotten away from that, wanting to be there, wanting to work, wanting to do those things, and us being able to tell them, look, these are what employers are saying. If you show up, you work hard, you don't steal from me, you're reliable, we're going to give you a job, and we're going to give you a good job, and we're going to pay you for it. I mean,
Mr. Billy Riggs was in our office last week and talking to Barkley and I, and we were talking about that, and he said, I want a good attitude and showing up to work more than I want anything, and willingness. It just matters. And, Dana was sitting in your seat last week. It's what we're trying to teach at TAP. It's just things that we're trying to recreate to show I mean, I always say I'm going to hire for personality as well.
Right.
Especially there definitely needs to be people that are do things differently, think differently than we do. And that's a great piece of advice, and it's interesting. We're teaching that at High Plains from 6th grade all the way up to post-secondary, because our WIN class just graduated last week. Same thing. It matters, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and not just given is small detail or small and reporting back 1-word answers, 2-word answers on because people want to know kind of what's going on with things as well.
Right.
And I always say, I've said before, nurses are the backbone of the medical community. No offense, doctors, no offense, everybody else, but nurses, I mean, I've spent a lot of time in hospitals with family, and it's what matters.
Yeah.
And that's really what, you can be in a cruddy hospital and it really matter, but when, and it gets down to you, but if you have great nurses, it's
Makes
incredible.
a big difference.
Yeah,
It really,
you're
truly
spending
does.
all day, all night with them. So.
No question.
So how many, remind me, how many students we have in there this year?
We have 14.
Yep, and that just about doubles our size from what we had last year, so which has been a great thing. The last couple years now, we've had 100% pass rate in our PN, which is unheard of. We're one of the few, if there's
And explain
any
that a little bit too for those that are listening.
So 100% pass rate of those that take it, and everybody has taken it for the last couple of years. So, it's not just we're going to kind of pick and choose our great students, which we've heard may happen, but, all of our students are going to take it. They're all passing it. They're all getting jobs. And that's really exciting because, again, when you come to High Plains, we set you up with these instructors, with Mickey, and just the whole program really is going to make you successfm if you want to do it.
And the beauty is we talk about, one of the prereqs is CNA that you have to have, and then med term, right?
Medical terminology, yeah.
So you have to have those two things. But if you think about it, if someone is thinking about this PN class, why not take your CNA? Why not work in there for a little while before you really realize? Now, they are a little bit different fields at times, can be different environments, but really realize if you want to or not, and you can grow yourself with that. So when you talk about the PN application, when is that process going to take place, Don?
We usually open it up after the first of the year. It'll probably be somewhere in February. And then we leave that open typically till May or so, just to allow students to get their name in the hat. And then we do an interactive interview. We do, we have those prerequisites, like you said, the CNA, the medical terminology, a current CPR first aid. And then we bring them in and do that interview and pick candidates that we feel like will be successful. And so if they hit those prerequisites, typically we think that, it's going to be a fit.
Now, when you talk about the CPR first aid, are you talking BLS or they need
BLS?
BLS.
Yes, they need BLS.
Okay. So there is a difference, folks, when you're enrolling in those things. BLS is more on the medical side, and then other fools like me teach the other thing to just everybody.
Just heart saver.
Yeah,
just
medic first aid out there in the industry. They want it quick.
Yep.
BLS is a little bit more in depth.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your favorite class to kind of teach right now?
Right now?
Yes, before you teach what you're really going to be good at next semester.
I actually really enjoyed anatomy and physiology.
All
it was
right.
difficult to teach. I had to reread the whole
that what
anatomy and physiology book.
It's difficult
It's very
to learn.
in depth, and it's a really fast course to go through that amount of information, but I did enjoy that.
I would say in college that was my toughest course, but again, just like you said,
tough.
it's the most enjoyable. I mean, you can really relate it to moving and physically yourself, and so it's really rewarding, but it is really tough.
And the rigor that's there it will blow you away, because yes, we have that in the health careers program, but this is a little bit more on steroids, and you kind of break it up as well, right?
Right, and we kind of talk about different disease processes along with that. So
awesome. Okay, so anything else to add, Don? What's going on in your side of the world?
Just kind of winding down towards the end of the year. This will be the last week of school that we have at High Plains, and we'll shut down for a few weeks for the holidays and then come back and really get into student contests and getting ready for clinicals on the PN side, and just gearing up for the end of the year.
All right. Katelyn, thank you so much for joining us. You've
Thank
been
you for
a
having
pleasure
me.
to be there.
Thank you.
It's good to getting to know you and everything. I've heard a lot of good things, not from your husband, but no, I'm just joking. So,
Yeah.
no, thank you for your
about
welcome
that.
addition to the staff, and everybody have a great Christmas, and we will see you again, or you'll hear us again. How's that? January 3rd. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.